All right, let's dive into one of the most maddening parts of being human, shall we? We're talking about that mystery of why our best plans, our most exciting goals, just seem to fizzle out.
I mean, you've been there, right? It's that feeling. You set a goal, you're all fired up, and then, poof, a few weeks go by and that motivation is just gone. Turns out, you're definitely not alone. And psychology actually has a name for this exact thing.
So let's start by putting a name to the face of this problem. We're going to call it the universal goal gap. Because, let's be honest, pretty much everyone on the planet has felt this.
And here's the official term, straight from research in Frontiers in Psychology. It's called the intention-behavior gap. It's that huge, annoying disconnect between the person you want to be and the things you actually do. But what's really wild is just how massive this gap is for most of us.
Yeah, that same research found that, on average, our good intentions only account for about 20% of what we actually do. Just let that sink in for a second. That means a whopping 80% of our actions are driven by, well, something else entirely. So if just wanting it isn't enough, what is? Well, it turns out the foundation for everything starts right up here, in your head. Before you can even dream of closing that gap between intention and action, you gotta have the right programming. Your mindset literally sets the ceiling on your potential.
I love this quote from Dr. John Ogahulu. It makes so much sense. He was talking about big companies, sure, but just think about it on a personal level. You are the leader of your own life, and your own personal growth can never, ever outpace your mindset.
So this all goes back to Carol Dweck's groundbreaking work on the two core mindsets. On one side, you've got the growth mindset. This is the belief that you can develop your abilities. You see a tough challenge and think, awesome, an opportunity to get better. On the other side, you have the fixed mindset. This is the belief that your talents are just set in stone. You avoid challenges because if you fail, it feels like a final verdict on who you are.
And this isn't just some abstract theory. You see it play out in the real world all the time. Think about Apple. They had a total growth mindset, always innovating, always disrupting even their own hit products. Then you have Blockbuster. They had a fixed mindset. They resisted the change to digital streaming, and well, you know how that story ended. That mindset difference was everything.
Okay, so you're working on that growth mindset. That is a fantastic, crucial first step. But even with the perfect mindset, not all of your goals are built the same. And that brings us to the strength of your actual intention.
It sounds so simple, right? But it's so important. Some of your goals are like dandelion seeds. The first little gust of wind, the first obstacle, and they're gone. But other goals, they're like oak trees. They're solid, they're resilient, they can weather a storm.
Psychologists actually call this intention strength. It's basically a measure of your goal's durability. What the research shows is that strong intentions, the ones you're really certain about, the ones that feel deeply important to you, are way more stable over time. And crucially, they're much better predictors of what you'll actually do. That's how we start closing that gap.
Okay, now we are getting to what I think is the most mind-blowing part of this whole thing. We're about to take a piece of advice you've probably heard a million times, and we're going to flip it completely on its head.
So let me ask you this. You've got a brand new, exciting goal. To give yourself the best shot at success, should you tell people about it?
I mean, all the conventional wisdom screams yes, right? Tell your friends, post it on social media, get that accountability partner.
But the actual psychological research says, nope, do not do it. In fact, it might be the worst thing you can do for your motivation.
And here's why. It's because of a sneaky psychological trap called social reality. When you tell someone your goal and they say, wow, that's amazing, your brain gets a little premature hit of satisfaction. It's like you get the social reward for achieving the goal before you've even done the work. And that feeling is so good, it actually makes you less likely to do the hard stuff.
And if you're thinking, come on, how big of a deal can it be? Well, a 2009 study at NYU put this to the test. The results are pretty shocking. The people who announced their goals to the group, on average, they quit after just 33 minutes.
I mean, just look at this comparison. The group that kept their mouths shut and their goals to themselves, they worked for the entire 45-minute period, on average. The group that announced their goals, they bailed 12 minutes early. But here's the craziest part. The people who did less work actually reported feeling closer to their goal. It's like their brain had already checked the box.
So, where does all this leave us? We know about the intention gap, we've got the right mindset, and now we know to avoid the social reality trap. So let's put it all together into a new, much more effective way of getting things done.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Stop talking about the things you're gonna do. Put your head down and just do the work.
the results will end up speaking way, way louder than your plans ever could.
So here it is, the new framework for actually achieving your goals. Step 1, cultivate that growth mindset. Truly believe you can get better. Step 2, form strong intentions. Get crystal clear on what you want and why it matters. Step 3, the big one, work in silence. Fight that urge to tell everyone. And finally, step 4, let your actions speak. Let the results, the success, let that be the only noise you make.
And that kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. Think about that next big thing you want to accomplish. The question isn't, who am I going to tell? The real question is, who am I not going to tell? Thanks for tuning in.